Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a new season of Joyful Journeys. My name is Caroline Woods, and today I am joined by Claire Collins, who is returning from the Olympics in Paris. She represented the USA as a rower, and we are so excited to start off the season talking about teamwork, and I can't think of anyone better than a rower to talk about teamwork, as when you are one of 8 women in a very small boat, if one person is off, the whole thing can go to shambles. So teamwork is a must within rowing. So Claire, welcome. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Alrighty, so why don't we begin by telling us a little bit about your journey as a rower? How did you become a rower? And how did you get to the Olympics? That's so awesome.
Yeah, I played a bunch of different sports growing up. So I was lucky that my parents helped me get into soccer and basketball and lacrosse. And I joined a summer swim league in Northern Virginia as a young kid. I got into swimming pretty intensely at about 10. So I joined a winter team and really started to find a passion for that sport and just sports in general. I found it as a great, really fun outlet. I made a lot of good friends. I just enjoyed learning and improving my skills, being outside. And so I continued that into high school where I started playing volleyball. So I picked up another sport, kept swimming, and then I tried rowing. All the swimmers on my high school team either did rowing or water polo in the spring. So they encouraged me to sort of try a little bit of each, do a captain's practice, which was usually held on the weekends in the winter. And I started on the erg machine, which is not every rower's favorite thing to do. It's not even in the boat on the water. And I actually liked the erg machine.
Wow.
So that was a big step right there. But I really enjoyed rowing from the beginning because it rewarded my strength and my power, but it also brought me into this wonderful community of people right away. And I was really just struck by how kind and hardworking everyone was. And then I finally got into a boat, and that was even better. So, yeah, that was my journey to start rowing. And it just sort of took off from there. I continued playing all 3 sports in high school, which I think really helped me with rowing. It kept it very fresh. I made a lot of friends in the other sports that I still keep up with today. And but it allowed me to just enjoy my whole high school experience. And then by the time I got to college, where I just focused on rowing at Princeton, um, there was still a lot of newness to the sport, and I didn't feel like I had seen it all. I was actually experiencing a lot of new things still, even though I'd been rowing for a couple of years at that point. So that's how I kind of kept it fresh and kept it alive for myself. And then partway through college, I kind of thought, ooh, I would like to continue, and I would like to make the Olympic team. That's my next big goal. So I am a big goal setter, and I sat down with my college coach and wrote down some of my major goals and sort of asked what it might take to get to the next level. And so I used a lot of guidance from her to figure out what was next and how to make the national team, and then basically how to work hard and find opportunities to make the Olympic team in the end. So I've been very lucky with good mentors along the way. But yeah, great team we have on the national team, and I was able to get onto the Olympic team. So
That
that's
is
that journey.
fantastic. What a journey. Well, first off, the fact that you say you love an erg says no rower ever. I was
Yeah.
myself, and that was probably my least favorite part of being on the rowing team. I loved being on the water. I couldn't agree more that the community that you have as a rower is something special. I also did a bunch of sports in high school as well, but there was something about being on that rowing team that, because of the intensity of the sport and the amount of time you spend together, and the incredible teamwork that is necessary in order to be successful as a rower. Literally, you're swinging together in motion in order to make the boat go forward. And if one person is off, that can ruin an entire experience for everyone. So love to hear that little bit about the community, but also your erg experience. Congratulations on making it to the Olympics. That is an incredible goal, and you achieved it. And we talk a lot at Girls on the Run about setting goals. And so I think it's really important that you shared your experience setting that goal and working towards it. During a season at Girls on the Run, our participants will set a goal to finish the 5K, whether they run, hop, skip, jump, just so they can get through that finish line. They set that goal, and being able to see someone like you set a goal like going to the Olympics and achieving it will give them inspiration to set that goal to cross the finish line at Girls on the Run. And as we say at Girls on the Run, crossing the finish line is just the beginning. So at 5K
Yeah.
could be the Olympics for them. It could be something completely different. I would love to hear from you. What was it like being at the Olympics in part of the Olympic Village? It seemed like from here in the States, there was a lot of camaraderie between the teams. And there was a lot of cheering on other teams. I don't know if that worked for you because you were maybe off a little bit from everybody else. But were you able to experience it? And what was it like being part of Team USA?
Yeah, but I'll answer that, but I have a quick
Go back.
note on the goal setting that
Oh,
the
please.
girls hopefully will find fun. When I was younger, so when my main sport was swimming, or the one I was most excited about, something they can try or something that was really fun for me to do, as I used to write my goals in the fog in the mirror after I got out of the shower in the bathroom. So then it kind of, for a couple days afterwards, it's a fun trick. It pops up afterwards a couple days. And so anyway, if that's a fun thing for people to do, I always liked having fun writing down my goals in colors in my notebook. But you can make it fun where they kind of reappear all the time. So anyway, try that
Wow.
at home.
I love that. I might have to try that myself, but I coach a Girls on the Run team, and I'm going to have to share that with everybody.
Yes.
That is fantastic. And hopefully everybody here will try that, adult or kid alike. What a great way to have that subtle reminder just pop up every day.
But yes, back to the village. The Olympic Village is it's just an incredible place. I mean, really nowhere else in the world are you surrounded by people from 200 other delegations and countries. And they're all there really just to have fun. We all are doing our sports because we're passionate about them. We want to do well, but people are really doing it most of the time because they have fun doing it and they like doing it. And so just to have that energy in this village where we're living for 2 weeks is pretty incredible. And to have people from all around the world be there peacefully, just to individually do their best and support each other. So the amount of camaraderie just between countries and respect between athletes is pretty unique and pretty cool. A small stories. We saw plenty of famous, athletes around the village and tried to stay cool and asked for pictures occasionally. But we respected the fact that they're working hard too, and they're trying to focus on their performance. But it was great because we would come back from either our practice or in the second week we got to watch some other sports because rowing was finished. And athletes would be coming back with their medals to the dining hall where we all ate, and you would just sit there and congratulate them and strike up a small conversation. And everyone was just so kind and flattered, and no one was too great that they wouldn't talk to anyone. So I think just in that sense, it was pretty awesome to see people achieve their goals and their dreams, and just be excited to share their stories and talk with each other. So it was great how approachable everyone was. Really, luckily English is the universal language, so we were at a benefit there. But it's one of those things you're able to communicate a lot more than you think you are, even though everyone's coming from all over the world. But yeah, it's a pretty cool and unique place to live for 2 weeks for sure.
Oh, wow. Well, sport is a universal language, right? I mean, you all are there for a similar purpose. And so you can share that same language regardless of where you all are coming from. And regardless of whether or not you have a medal around your neck, you are an Olympian, and an incredible achievement for anybody who is in that village. Again, setting that goal and getting there is pretty darn amazing.
Mm.
Going back to rowing specifically, I think I mentioned this in the intro. I can't think of a sport that is more the epitome of teamwork than rowing. As I said before, if one person is off by a centimeter on their slide or when they put their oar in the water, it can mess up the whole boat and make things go slower. It can make the boat tippy. How did you all as a team build that camaraderie within the team, trust within the team, build a sense of respect for one another? I know it happens in the boat at practice, but were there other ways that you were able to help build that teamwork as well?
Yeah, you're very right. It's, in my opinion, one of the most team-oriented sports.
Even if you're
Because
sitting
as
by
much as you,
yourself, you're still,
yeah,
it is so team-oriented.
yes, and there is one event where you're going down the water by yourself, but that's the single. But I would argue that even and we consider, even when you're rowing in different boat classes and not exactly in the boat together, that's part of our team. And so we're really we care a lot about how the other boats do. And so the single sculler Kara, I think many a times she's said how much better she's gotten by just training and being around the team, even though she races by herself. So you are so right that even the one person that does it by themselves relies on the whole team. But in pretty much all of our boats, we're working with at least one other person, and in my case, 8 other people. So we have 8 rowers and a coxswain. So the coxswain has a slightly different job in our boat. She's slightly smaller than us, and so that's like the first step. You have someone that's in a totally different position, and from the outside isn't working as hard. She's not physically exerting herself in the same way. So that's a challenge even in our boat. That's the first step. You've got to respect and trust and listen and you know um, care about the leadership of the coxswain, even if she's not doing the same job as the rest of us. But for the 8, I mean, the coxswain included, but especially for the 8 rowers, that trust and that teamwork is first built by knowing that everyone is doing the best that they can every day. And that may not look like everyone's, you know, getting to their individual goals or going as fast as they've ever gone. Sometimes people have bad days and sometimes they have good days, and you have to recognize that for yourself and your teammates, but know that people are giving their 100% every day, no matter what that is. They could be a little sick, they could have had a bad day at work or school. So that's sort of the first step, is just knowing that your teammates are giving 100% of their effort for that day. And then each of us are different, so we have to recognize each other's personalities and each other's strengths and things that we're working on, and know that the way that I might approach a practice or what I might be really good at to help the team may not be the same for the other person, or one of my teammates. So um, having empathy and having just recognition of other people's talents and how that fits into the puzzle is a huge piece of it as well. And once we do that, those are, in my mind, are the two major um, pieces to get the team to start working together. Then we can start flowing. You can really, I mean, individually we can only control what we can control. So I control my effort and how I'm, moving with the boat. But you end up starting to sync up your minds a little bit. As we get closer to the race, we talk a lot about the race plan so that it's sort of second nature. Like, even though the coxswain is telling us what to do, we kind of already know what's about to happen. So you really start to sync up mentally and how you're approaching everything. But it does come with hours and hours and hours of training together and working together. And sometimes there's a little friction. Sometimes there's things that we don't agree upon, and I'm always a believer that as long as we treat each other with respect, that disagreement or friction will often make us stronger in the end. So I could go on. There's lots and lots
I
and
mean,
lots
I
of
think
pieces of teamwork.
you literally just touched on every Girls on the Run lesson. We have an empathy.
Yay.
We talk about teamwork. We really talk about recognizing and acknowledging our differences, and also celebrating our similarities. And that is so true. In order to be successful in whatever it is, whether it is rowing a boat, whether it is in a profession or at school in another sport, whether it is in the arts, we really need to be able to be respectful of everybody else. And I feel like you talked a little bit about that at the Olympic Village too. You know, here
Yes.
we all are different. We can put all of our differences aside, and we are here for one similar reason. It gives me chills just talking about it. And then
Yeah.
empathy, you know, I think that is so true. Everybody comes every day with something different. You can come super energetic, and we try to tell our participants this each day at practice. Today might be a good day for you and you are ready to run during practice. And today you might just not be feeling your best. And you know what? Then go ahead and walk today and say your goal for tomorrow or our next practice is you're going to run a little bit more. But each day we bring something different, whether it's mentally or physically, I guess. And that's so important when you are on a team, I think, to be able to recognize that it's not just the physical component that is so important as a rower, because it is the most excruciating sport, but that mental connection that you have with everybody in that boat is going to be what kind of makes or breaks the success of a team, it seems like.
Yeah. And the other thing I would say is that has really helped. So we have, even though our sport is so team oriented, we are also trying to work on team culture all the time. And so one of the main things that I think we've built up over the last couple of years in a very conscious way has been really outward support of each other, because like your success depends on the success of your teammates. And so part of my job as being a good teammate is to help get my other teammates to their potential. And one way we like to do that is very simply just cheering each other on. So we cheer each other on when we're doing workouts. Whenever the coach asks someone to make a technical change, or sometimes push a little harder or something like that, we will yell for that person in the boat as we're doing a piece or a practice. So we'll say, yeah, Caroline, or something like that as we go along. And just those little moments go a long way. They add up a lot. And again, like you said, if that person has a bad day or is feeling a little down, it could really help their mood increase. And yeah, little things go a long way in terms of support and cheering on your teammates too.
It's fantastic. Thank you so much, Claire. And I think, again, another thing we do, Girls on the Run, I really think we might have to get you to come to a practice so you can see this.
Yes.
We'll find one in McLean for you or somewhere that's convenient. But we often will do a practice where they're running. We have two different groups and they're running in opposite directions of each other, and they'll cheer each other on. And as they pass each other, they'll say something positive or hand them a positive card, just to give them that little bit of encouragement that you need to just push yourself a little bit harder, or take you out of maybe that slump that you're feeling that day, because just one little thing can make a world of a difference. And we talk about that at Girls on the Run too, and how small things can make such a large impact on our participants. And
I love that.
With that, I want to thank you so much for your time today. I know we've been on for quite a bit of time, but I could talk for hours with you. It's so much fun to talk to another rower, an Olympian. Wow, lucky us to have you here. And thank you to all of our listeners. We will see you next week for another episode of Joyful Journeys.
This episode of Joyful Journeys is brought to you by Girls on the Run of Northern Virginia.